right?
But the nature of tea is salty, and the nature of sweetness is sugary.
So it's a point.
Yeah.
You can't
Are you saying that?
patience with nectar.
Are you arguing that it's not possible to get a sweet result from a savory seed?
It's getting real late. She's warming up.
We're missing that.
Is that course 13?
Yeah, I'm not so into that.
Which one, 13?
The only part about that course that I'm good at is the tender. The more I see like a bit, the more they shut up. But that's somehow I'm good at it now.
Okay, so now we get into this Bodhisattva schizophrenia idea.
We should do movie night and watch Being John Muppet.
Yeah,
That sounds
do
fun.
it. Yeah, I'm sure you can find a slot here.
Totally. Okay. If I do it, will you come?
If I can. Depends on the night. I need childcare, you know?
We'll have to arrange the night.
All right. Yeah,
We do it here with a screen and everything.
that'd be great.
Fun.
I'll bring popcorn.
I'll come.
You go.
I'll
Little popcorn.
Popcorn's added in.
But I like that movie.
It's a good movie.
That would be nice as a review.
Yeah. Sorry. No, I'm like, yeah.
That course 11, that's in class next week, is that it? All right, so Bodhisattva schizophrenia. So Master Shantideva says, look, if you're going to exchange yourself with others, you really have to exchange yourself with others. Right? So, my mind is in G's body, looking over here at me, right, going, what are all my normal mental afflictions? Oh, I'm better than them. You know, they don't know as much as me. I have more hair, my hair's more beautiful than hers. Whatever, right?
That's what I'm thinking?
No, I'm saying
no,
it's
no,
not.
Oh, okay. That's
I
not
don't want to compare your hair to mine. It's not, it's a losing proposition.
okay.
Maybe I should
Yeah.
use repeat, okay?
Now I'm so jealous of G's hair that I can't get over it.
So when John was G, you were like him, John.
Okay, no. All right, it's easy to get confused. So, think about all my mental afflictions, what my mental afflictions are. You know, I'm smarter, I'm cleverer, I'm prettier, I'm skinnier, right? So I'm over there now, in that body, looking at John, okay? And so I'm essentially projecting all of my mental afflictions onto this body, except I'm not in this body, right? Master Shantideva is playing this mind game with you. He's saying, look, imagine that person has all of your mental afflictions in their mind.
Wait, are you just saying that you're in my body, in my mind, with my mental afflictions,
My
not with
mental
yours?
afflictions.
Oh, you take your mental afflictions and you plant them into my mind, and you're just looking outside
Looking
my
at over
body
here at this.
with your mind
And
inside my
calling
body.
that thing G. So
Well, he's saying,
So
listen,
it is
if you're a
like
bodhisattva, so if you're a bodhisattva, right? Imagine if you're on the receiving end of all your mental afflictions. Okay? Think of it that way, okay? Imagine all your mental afflictions were out there
Yeah.
coming at you.
God forbid.
But why do you have to be in someone's? Why do you have to be in someone's body?
Well, yeah, it's coming at you.
Yeah, but why can't you just be doing the whole, Geshe Michael thing where you?
Why can't they be above your head?
Well, no, then you take a piece of your mind and you're watching me. Why do you have to be in someone's body?
Because that's how others experience them, though.
It's
That's how you
I
have
think
to.
it's probably
Where's
why
the
you would treat
exchange?
other people.
Well, we're getting there. We're first
Sorry,
step,
I'm
okay,
getting-
one step at a time.
Okay.
What are you doing in there, Joan?
this is all being recorded.
says, look, natural reaction is to have these three attitudes. You say, Toa,
Toa,
Nyampa,
Nyampa,
Mempa.
Mempa.
So, he says, Toa, and what else I place?
Respect.
Respect.
You guys are hearing me. So, if we put ourselves in other places, right, and practice how lousy it is, how lousy it feels when those afflictions are coming at us. You know, if I'm sitting over there going, no, never mind. So now I'm getting confused.
It's confusing.
So, the Tibetan is throwing me off. So never mind the Tibetan for now. I'm just going to go with the
English.
because I get confused with the Tibetan because I don't know Tibetan. I'm going to figure out what the Tibetan word means and it's doubly confusing. So, if I, in my mind, as an ordinary John, feel superior, like I know more Dharma than G, and I'm older than G, and I'm more experienced than G, and she doesn't know half of what I know. Let's say that's my normal afflicted state of mind, right? And so then I go over there, and I have all that attitude coming at this being here. That feels lousy, right? All those mental afflictions coming at this being feels lousy, right? So that's the first part of it.
Are you in my mind looking at you knowing that it's the same? Are you, John, in my mind going, there's me, the one who, and is more accusatory? Like, you're the one who thinks that you're so much smarter and older and more, you know.
It's like this. Imagine everybody in the world had all of my mental afflictions. For me, it's like, let's say everybody in the world had my mental afflictions, right? How would it feel to be on the receiving end of that from everybody I met? Right? Yeah.
So let me try and referee this from a third party
Yeah, go ahead.
perspective. So if I were to referee, would I see looking at this scene that the John subject state is now occupying the G object state?
You're going to really make me confused.
Well, there's the inner John, there's the outer John. So let's say the question is referee.
Yeah, do inner and outer. The object subject is like so weird. It's like easy to ask.
It's like what?
Inner and outer is better.
Okay.
Okay.
So if the inner John
Yes.
has replaced the inner G, and the inner G is now occupying the outer John, does the referee then look at that and say, does the occupant look at the other one and recognize?
That's what I mean. Is it like a ghost thing?
Yeah, or like a bad John Travolta Nicolas Cage movie or Face Off?
Yes, like that.
Oh,
That's even
No,
better. That's actually better. I like that better than ghost.
It's so simple. It's so simple. The basic idea is that you're exchanging yourself with others. So you're putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
No, that's not what he's saying. It's not just that he's in my
It
shoes.
sounds
He's
as though
saying
it's not a
'cause-
two-way thing.
It's not a
Because
two-way
your
thing.
afflictions
It's
are
not a
from
two-way
another
thing.
being,
That's why.
and
It's-
you have landed them with all your messed up mental state. That's hard.
You're both the giver and the receiver.
There are a couple of steps. We have to go through each step and get each step. So the first aspect of this is imagine everybody around you had your mental afflictions, right? Whatever my unique set of mental afflictions are. So if I'm jealous and if I want to get ahead and I want to undermine somebody and I want all the praise and I want all the glory and I want all the fame, and I want all the accolades and I want them to just be inconsequential, imagine, and that's my set of mental afflictions, right? Imagine that she's treating me like that, right? Because she's got my mind and my mental afflictions. And imagine that P is doing that, and Betty is doing that, and Paul's doing that. Everyone I ever meet is doing that. It's like everyone I ever meet is hitting me with all of my mental afflictions, right? Yeah, it would be a nightmare, right?
Or suicide.
The way I started doing that, because I got confused as well at the beginning. The way I started doing that on the subway is imagining, you know those cartoons that have a bubble above the head where they, nobody can tell what they think?
The soft
So
bubbles.
I looked at all the people on the train. I was imagining what I was thinking of them subtly. Yeah, I'm like, you're too fat, you're too skinny, whatever, you know? Like I could be aware of that. And then I put those bubbles in their heads, above their heads, about me. And it completely froze the you're too fat, you're too skinny. It made me ashamed, number one. It made me want to retract the bubbles. That's the simplest way I can.
Isn't it just being aware of what you're sending out to other people?
Yeah, I mean, in
That's
fact.
the first stage, we're not done.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just being aware. I mean, he's saying, look, how would you feel if everybody if everyone directed your mental afflictions at you? How would you feel if everyone in the world had mental afflictions and were directing them at you? Then you'd be in hell, like you said, you'd be in collisions, right? And so he says, stop doing that. Stop directing those mental afflictions at other people. Because it would actually suck to be on the receiving end of that, wouldn't it?
It isn't the point of this exercise.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. He has to get to the next part, the exchanging part.
Get him,
We're not
G.
done with the
This
exercise.
is part, so I can satisfy G and ask my question. Thank you.
So, and the point that I started to make earlier about the Master Shanti Davis makes about comparing. He's saying it's a natural human behavior, natural human tendency to always say, I'm better than them, or I'm competitive with them, or they're inferior to me. And he said, that's this particular set of mental afflictions that Master Shanti Davis brings up. And he says that we feel those things, and how would it feel to have people doing that to you? I mean, so there's a homework question. The reason I mention this is a homework question that says, what does it mean when Master Shanti Davis says, we should practice 3 attitudes towards those who are higher than, the same as, and lower than ourselves. And so it's we just practice what it feels like to have people saying, I'm better than you, and you're a piece of crap, and and I'm going to get you, you're better than me, or you're a peer, and I'm going to compete with you, and I'm going to bring you down, and I'm going to get ahead of you, or you've got more than me, and I'm jealous of you, and I'm envious of you, and you can't trust me, and I'm going to be weird towards you. So he's pointing out 3 particular attitudes, and I'll mention it because it's on the homework. All right, so next verse, please.
Wait, that's it?
That was one of those 3 things. That's on the homework.
How does that have
about.
anything to do with exchanging yourself
We're
with
not
others?
next verse. We'll get there. It's on the homework. I have to
Waiting
tell
for
you.
like the.
It was just a little aside. Next verse, please.
So for the people above you change jealousy to respect.
No.
No, you don't change anything.
Well,
That's
we're not
what those
there.
3 words mean.
Yeah, but we're not there yet. So.
Oh.
At this point, you're just feeling.
That would be if you weren't doing it. You would have.
Jealousy or...
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So at this point, you have just looked at the world and everyone has your afflictions, and you feel like a douche.
Yeah, how would it be if everybody was out to get you because they thought you were a competitor?
Right.
How would it be if everybody thought you were a loser and you treated you like a loser? How would it be
Those
if...
are your afflictions.
Yeah, well, he's saying everybody's got this. So he's saying these are 3 attitudes that are universal, and you're going to at least experience that, but you're also going to have imagine that and imagine your unique set of afflictions too.
This one should receive the honor, but not us. We should never get the things he always does. He should bask in praise, and we should be belittled. We should have all happiness and leave the suffering. We should be the ones who have to do all the work, and we should sit in the perfect leisure. Throughout the world, we should become a great man. We should stay inferior and known as knowing nothing.
So in this verse, Master Shantideva starts to go into a slightly different variation on this. He says, basically put your brain in everyone else's brain, and they're going to think like you. All the thoughts we have about how we want to be, not just our afflictions, but all the things that we want, Like, I want to be acknowledged as a great teacher. I want to be respected. I want to be admired. I want to be esteemed. I want to be, seen as a whatever, right? And so Master Shantideva says, take all of those things that you have in your mind and this sense that, oh, I'm some great scholar and everyone knows less than me, and I'm some great meditator and I see more than other people see, and I'm some great teacher and everyone's less than me. And so Master Shantideva starts to go into this thing where he says, all the things that we really truly think about ourselves, but don't really admit, right? He said, put that in other people's head. Give that to everybody else in the world that's around you, right? And imagine how it would be if everybody in the room agreed with what's really in your heart. And imagine how they would act, right? And they all agree with you. Master Shantideva says, they say, oh yes, we'll always bow down to you, we'll always give you flowers, we'll always give you the esteem, we'll always tell you what a wonderful person you are and how you know so much and how we're so much below you and how we're inferior. And because that's what you want, Mr. Bodhisattva, isn't it? You're really a great Bodhisattva, aren't you? And that's really what you want, don't you? You want praise, and you want accolades, and you want respect, and you want esteem, right? So we'll give it to you, right, Mr. Bodhisattva? Aren't you a great Bodhisattva? And because that's what you really want. So he says, what if everybody in the room suddenly agreed with you, right? They think, oh, we're just little sentient beings, and you're the great one, and the great teacher, and you're the one who knows so much more than us. And we'll be obscure while you become famous. Make sure that you get all the praise and we get nothing, right? So he says, imagine that it's like that, right? Please say Kurti. Kurti means respect, right? So these are two things that a Dharma teacher typically wants. Is in a nyepa. You say nyepa?
Nyepa.
It's material things, right? And so these are the things to watch out for in a Dharma teacher. This idea of like, oh, I'm so wonderful, everybody should say I'm so wonderful. They should often do physical things. And a Dharma teacher has to be very careful and sensitive about these two things, not to deteriorate. Right? Please say tupa.
Tupa.
Tupa means praise. And so, imagine a room full of people who say, "Oh yeah, you're the most wonderful teacher, and you're the best teacher," and they give you the praise you want, they give you the respect you want, they give you the material things that you want, right? Because it's what you really want, right? You say dewa.
Dewa.
Dewa means happiness. And then the idea is well, we'll give you all those things you want, and then you'll have all the happiness you want, right? This sense of like, well, I'll just get what I want as the big teacher. I can get what I want as the big teacher. I get, the people who have depression, the people with anxiety, the people who are trying to find a job, the people who have problems, all of those things. Well, don't worry, they'll get by. All the people will see, everybody will be saying, don't worry about us and our little problems, don't worry about us and our anxiety, don't worry about us and our depression, you're Mr. Big Bodhisattva, and, you're more important than we are, right? So everybody in the room decides that I should be happy all the time, and, they basically give you everything you always wanted, right? They have the attitude of giving you all the things that you always wanted. What you've always wanted in our heart. So, okay. So, you say le mepe dewa.
Le mepe dewa.
It means le mepe means no work. Dewa means happiness. And this is talking about not even doing work and relaxing while other people do all the work. And you say drakpa.
Drakpa,
which means fame and being well known. So. These are all qualities that are somewhat dangerous in a teacher, and typically these are things which a teacher really wants in their heart.
Let's see.
And so, we'll make the tea, we'll bring you the tea, we'll bring you the snacks, we'll bring you some offerings, don't worry, we'll do all the dirty work. What if the whole world really started to act that way, right? So Master Shantideva is being sarcastic, and he says, What if all your fondest dreams come true? You know, what if everybody out there around you gave you all the things that you really aspire to, and all the things that you wish for in your heart of hearts, which are, you know, basically self-centered and self-aggrandizing, actually came true? So he starts to get a little sarcastic, and he says, you know, yeah, why don't we just make sure you have all those things and we give you all those things. And then, well, we'll continue. So go ahead and do the next verse, please.
You must care for us by using all your strength, and we should too willingly take all the hurts. Are we not, though, someone you should care for? Why is it that you bully us so? What use would we ever have for the qualities that he has? And he is a being of qualities. He lives in the savage jaws of the lower growths. He has no compassion for living beings. Even worse, his delusion that he possesses higher qualities seems hoping to prove the wise.
So Master Shantideva turns the tables and he says, you know, everybody basically says, well, you're supposed to be a Bodhisattva. You're Mrs. or Mr. Bodhisattva. You call yourself a Bodhisattva. You know, you say you want all these things and you aspire to all these things. You're supposed to be some high spiritual practitioner. You're supposed to be some kind of teacher, and you know, and here you are disparaging us and speaking badly about us, and you know, you're supposed to have all this compassion. You're supposed to have all this love. You know, what kind of spiritual practitioner are you? What kind of bodhisattva are you? You know, it's as if all sentient beings. It's as if I, as the Bodhisattva, spoke my heart's true wishes, and all sentient beings gave that to me. And then, in getting it, my true nature was revealed. And they're going like, wow, you're a crap teacher, basically. You know, you're a lousy Bodhisattva. You're a shit Bodhisattva. We're supposed to listen to you. We're supposed to aspire to be like you. I don't think so. I don't think I want to be like you. I don't think I want to listen to you. I don't think I want to study with you. You know, you don't have anything that we aspire to. You don't have anything that we want. You certainly don't have anything to say that we want to listen to. So, you know, basically, we don't need this kind of bodhisattva. This is not the kind of bodhisattva that we want to be around. We want to be taking teachings from. You don't see any religious qualities in you. The way that you're acting, which, you know, you're going to end up in the hell realms. You're no bodhisattva. So, we don't want to emulate you. We don't want you to try to save us. So no thanks, Mr. Bodhisattva. Right? So it's, you know, they basically say, keep your bodhisattva stuff to yourself. Right? So, so he goes through this thing of playing with the mind a little bit, and first saying that you're on the receiving end of all your mental afflictions from everybody in the world, giving you your mental afflictions, behaving towards you with the same mental afflictions you put on everyone else. Right? Imagine that you're in everyone else's body, looking at yourself, treating you that way, and you see how lousy it feels to treat somebody that way, and see how lousy it feels to be treated that way. Right? He said, you know, and then on the other hand, you could exchange yourself and others and say like, all right, you know, I'll be a bodhisattva over here. I'll be G the bodhisattva, and let's give this guy everything he wants. This guy who claims to be a bodhisattva, all the things he wants. Let's give him all the accolades and all the service and all the offerings and all the praise and all the adoration and veneration of, oh, you're a wonderful, great teacher. And then actually see what a piece of shit teacher he is, you know, and tell him that as a result. And how does it feel to be in that situation? That everybody around you behaving as a true bodhisattva towards you, and you being a schmuck, and them just saying, oh, you really are a schmuck, aren't you? You know? And, you know, why would we want to be associated with you, or learning from you, or studying with you? You know, you don't really have any good qualities at all that we're interested in. So then Master Shantideva is approaching it from that perspective too. You exchange yourself with others in that regard, in that you're getting everything you want. You know, they're the bodhisattvas and they're the ones who are giving you everything. And then seeing how woefully, pitifully inadequate we are in our bodhisattva ideal and behavior. Right? So the next one, please.
No matter what, we must see to it that all the good qualities which we have are spoken all over the world. We must moreover assure that what good qualities he may happen to have are known to no one at all. Any faults that we have must be hidden away. Offerings must be made to us, but not to him. We must gain with ease and now the things we want, and we must win all honor, but not him. When something wrong befalls him, all of us will watch a long time, feeling a kind of joy. We will assure that he becomes a laughing stock for everyone, derided in all circles.
So this is a continuation again of the same idea where Master Shantideva is saying, what if all the other sentient beings started to think like you and me? What if my state of mind was in your head? And if my thinking is that I should get all the praise, I should be famous, my name should be published and spread around, and what if everybody in the world thought that way? What if everyone in the world was saying, well, everyone around me was saying, well, I should be in obscurity, and they should be famous, and they should be well known. Right? And saying that anytime he screws up, it should be brought to everyone's attention. Anytime he does anything good, it should be hidden. What if that attitude was pervasive? And what if everyone was talking about you behind your back and disparaging you and tearing you down? It would be a lousy way to be.
If you had at some point in the past undertaken this very action, then it's completely impossible that you'd be living like this, in something so opposite to the excellent bliss I grew up in.
He shifts gears and changes subjects here a little bit, but I want to make sure that I haven't missed anything from the homework before we take a slightly different approach. So there's a question on the homework that says, name 6 good things that a Bodhisattva, thinking of himself with others, wishes on others pictured as him. So, did you follow that?
No.
Honor, material things, praise, happiness.
A Bodhisattva, thinking of himself with others, wishes on others. I mean, it's the reverse, essentially. Having swapped places. So it's, they should get the honor, not us. They should get material things, not us. They should get praise, while we should be belittled. They should have happiness, and we should have problems. They should have relaxation, we should do all the work. They should be famous, and we should remain unknown. These are the things which, in one's heart of hearts, one might wish for, you could say.
So the idea of exchanging yourself and others isn't the idea of actually being in someone else's shoes. It's a mechanism where you are going outside of yourself, really to gain perspective. It's more of that kind of giving an objective,
Reality check.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
It's a good way to
It's not like feeling someone's pain or suffering. It's not like that.
No, this is exchanging yourself and others. So, and Master Shantideva is very clear. He says, look, we're supposed to be bodhisattvas. We're supposed to have bodhicitta. We're supposed to be treating others well. We're supposed to be putting others ahead of ourselves. Are we doing that? Let's have a reality check. Take the state of your mind and direct it at yourself from someone else's vantage point. Right? What's it feel like? Right? Imagine someone else is treating you like a bodhisattva. So that's one approach. Imagine somebody else is treating you as a bodhisattva. Imagine they really are a bodhisattva. And you're speaking your heart of hearts to them and saying, I want. And they're giving it all to you. Right? And then they turn around and go like, excuse me, were you Bodhisattva? What did you just do? That's not Bodhisattva. I would never even want to aspire to be like you. So there's this sort of the outer Bodhisattva reality check, where so you look at it both ways. What's it feel like to be on the receiving end of my state of mind at the present moment? If my state of mind is projected at me. And what would it be like if I was surrounded by true bodhisattvas and they were making all my dreams come true, and then they were going like, yeah, that was pretty bad behavior, wasn't it, for a bodhisattva? That was really the opposite of what a bodhisattva is supposed to do, isn't it? And so this is, as you say, this is a gaining perspective of, am I really behaving like a bodhisattva or not? You know? Yeah.
There are people around us who treat us with the same three qualities that are being described here. There are people who are jealous of us because they think of us rightly or wrongly as superior. There are people who compete with us, they consider themselves our peers, and so forth. So why do we go through this, since that is a conquest process in the ordinary world, why do we have to go through this elaboration of exchanging self for others when we ourselves are directed? When we ourselves are directly the object of these attitudes as it is.
Which attitude?
Well, there are some...
From other people, you mean?
Yeah, sure. There's someone at the office who...
Yeah, to me, I think
it's not mine. Sorry, I think it's not my... Like, if I'm jealous of you because you have a better job, you can sense that and you can experience that, but that's my mental affliction. That's my hang-up. That's my problem. What it's trying to do is put yourself in look at yourself saying that about someone else and projecting it back onto yourself.
But don't I have an appreciation of that quality because you are aiming at it?
But it might be better if you think of it as, I'm that annoying guy at work who's always coming in right as you're about to go out the door asking me to do something. Put that mental projection back onto yourself. I'm not explaining it well.
I just want to say I like that question, but the purpose, I guess as Bodhisattvas we're trying to eradicate our mental afflictions. But so if you're perceiving someone coming at you with jealousy, then you're perceiving somebody coming at you with an affliction. So as a practitioner, if we see someone coming at us with an affliction, our natural response, if we're, I guess, at least in the moment about to practice, is empathy or some kind of way to benefit them. So if we're responding to them with anger, frustration, hate, jealousy, we're just creating more negative karma. It's going to create more of those beings anyway. So to exchange ourselves with them in that moment, to see that they're afflicted, to only be responding with affliction would be just to sow greater harm. So it seems that method would then be practical. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, instead of responding with pride, like, oh, you're jealous of me and you should be because I'm so great, you're responding with compassion.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
That's what the exchange does. It's simply recognizing it.
The whole point of the exchange is for you to understand. It's not to fend off other people. Like, it's for you to understand. It's for you. So at the moment when someone's like coming at me and accusing me of whatever, why would I be exchanging myself with that person in that moment
because
at all?
You don't recognize that you yourself are doing it to others. You just see yourself as a victim of something else.
That was a mistake. Thank you. That makes sense.
That's very advanced.
I'm
exchanging myself with you.
That's super advanced to do that.
Don't get hung up on the three, better than, worse than, equal to thing. I think that's just, as you said, it's just taking one little subset of issues and working with it. I think I would suggest to focus more upon the two main thrusts, which is imagine being on the receiving end of the mental afflictions from everybody else around you. As one way to exchange yourself and others. Everybody around you has your mental afflictions and they're giving them to you. That's one method of exchanging yourself and others. Like all the poor G's over here on the receiving end of all my mental afflictions, right? That's pretty lousy, right?
I don't know, is it?
Well, or I'm gonna be able, it depends, I mean, for you, you'd be on this, think of, if you want, think of John
Right.
over there in your body on the receiving end of your mind and all of your mind's mental
Well, that would
affliction.
totally suck.
So that's the point. And that's the one side of it. And the other side of it, imagine that everybody around you is a true bodhisattva giving you everything you want. You know, you like going, woohoo, I get everything I want that, I want that, I want that. And they're giving it to you, you know, and you're like, wow, this is great, you know? And they're like, wow, you suck as a bodhisattva. You're really a shit bodhisattva. I don't want to like you. I would never aspire to be like you. You know?
You know, I also heard this chapter taught that you actually wouldn't be like great. Like if you really have compassion for others and you're in a suffering world and all of a sudden you have honor and respect and fame and you look around and you still see people suffering, you actually wouldn't be happy. You know what I'm saying? So being John Malkovich is a good movie example because it's a total caricature. All the things you think are going to make you happy, if you actually got them, would be a total caricature and you'd be miserable. So
it's a good reality check in that way.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, just to see where, you know,
what do you really care about? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you bring in an honest assessment, how do you, I mean, sure, we all want worldly success or worldly pleasures. Even realizing that, okay, well, if I got all that, doesn't necessarily defuse that desire. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, maybe we're not presenting ourselves to others and saying, oh, I'm a great bodhisattva and I want to teach you and I want to help you. But at the same time, I think realizing that I have those worldly aims and desires doesn't necessarily help me to cut that forward. I guess I have to
It's important to put it in context, right? And the context here is as a bodhisattva, there's nothing wrong with pleasure and happiness and goodness and great things happening to oneself. We're not saying that. We're not saying be miserable. We're simply saying, how do you relate to other people and how do you treat other people? Because that's what bodhicitta is about. Bodhicitta is, don't confuse the notion that, let's say this, don't think that we're supposed to be unhappy to be a bodhisattva. Don't think that we're supposed to suffer to be a bodhisattva. We can, and the point that was made earlier by Master Shantideva was, is if you want to get every happiness and every goodness and every mental and physical maxed out blissful experience, what you do is to exchange yourself and others and think about others first. So, no problem there. You know? The issue here, and the reality check here in exchanging yourself and others, is simply how are we treating others? Let's check in on how we're treating others. How are we treating others mentally? What is our mental affliction level towards others? What is our speech and activity towards others? You know? So this practice of exchanging yourself and others is just a way to check in and say, would I like to be on the receiving end of that? You know? And if I could do anything I want, if I were doing anything I want, how would I measure up, you know, to true bodhisattvas, for real bodhisattvas? So, no problem to have great goodness. However, it can't be at the expense of other people's suffering. That's the thing. Okay, so this verse, this is a very famous verse. It starts out with a question from a reader. The person Master Shantideva is writing to here in the guide. And he says, you know, he basically writes to Master Shantideva and he says, look, I've practiced this stuff, I've done this stuff. I'm not seeing any glowing beams of light. I'm not seeing tantric deities. You know, my life isn't great. You know, things are not going better and better and better. You know, I've sincerely practiced these things and I've done these things and it just hasn't brought the results you say. Master Shantideva is quite strong in his resolve in his answer. He says, that's crap. He says, it's impossible. He said, it's absolutely, utterly impossible. If that's true. He said, I can see, you know, he said, I can see from your life and from your face that you haven't practiced these things properly. You know, I mean, a little bit here, a little bit there is not practicing. And it's an impossibility that you could practice this and not have a good life and not be happy. Utterly and totally impossible. And you wouldn't be like you are, and it would be obvious in your face if you practice these things. So don't make up some story that you've been helping other people. The fact that your life is so miserable proves that you haven't been helping other people in any kind of meaningful, adequate way. So, you know, he makes the point that if one is miserable now, it's proof that we were doing a wimpy job and helping other people and putting other people first, and we weren't putting our heart into it. We probably didn't do it much anyway. And if we're not happy physically and mentally right now, it's proof that we haven't been taking care of other people adequately. He says, I can tell you if you're not happy, you aren't going to exchanging yourself and others. He says it's impossible that your life would be such a miserable thing if you had done this practice before. Verse 3.
As such, you must become accustomed to thinking of others as you do of yourself when you believe that a couple of drops of semen and blood belonging to someone else to eat could ever be the person you call yourself.
We talked about this one before. We glossed it briefly. When my wife and I had our daughter Deva, when she was born, we didn't say, "Look, it's us." It's our bits that made it. That is other organic organism grew from. And so it's like, well, yeah, that was our bits, and it grew, and it's still us, right? And I'm just saying, it's the way we think of ourselves as being separate, the way we think of ourselves as being unique, the way we think of ourselves as being new. It's all wrong. So that's what we're talking about, right?
Let me command myself to work for every purpose, acting as if I were the least of servants. He is by his very nature wrong. Refuse to praise him for some small accidental good. See to it that any qualities which he does have aren't detected by anyone else at all.
So he's saying here in this verse that all sentient beings are looking at us again and, basically assessing us and saying like, well, how does he stack up? How does this person stack up? Basically good, basically bad, good practitioner, lousy practitioner. And then basically they say, well, you have a few good qualities, not too great. Not many sacred, holy, good qualities there. Like there's this great Bodhisattva meaning of all sentient beings, right? And they're like judging you and saying, not much there. Right? So they're saying, well, what should we do? Should we give him a little praise? Should we tell him he's done something right or she's done something right? And no, they say, no, let's refuse to praise him for some small accidental goodness. It's like the goodness is so small as to almost be accidental, in nature. So he'd probably just get pride if we told him, if we could praise him and do something right. So let's just, his basic nature is not that great. So all sentient beings are saying, there's some good qualities, but the right thing to do is just to not mention them and not praise them. Keep it under wraps, right? Don't tell anybody. They're saying essentially, look, as a Bodhisattva, he's not going to want anybody to know about his good qualities. Bodhisattvas keep their good qualities secret. They're not walking around going like, ooh, I'm a Bodhisattva, look at the great stuff I did. Right? So if they're a true Bodhisattva, they don't need praise. And if, there's some schmuck who just did a few good things, almost incidentally, then praising is not going to help, and pointing out the qualities is not going to help.
Who's the doer in this?
Master Shantideva is saying, this is in this verse, he's saying that Bodhisattva's good deeds are mostly secret, and that's the way to think about them, and that those who have small good deeds don't think about them properly. And so if all bodhisattvas were, if there was a big meeting of bodhisattvas and they were assessing oneself, that's how they'd be thinking about you and how they'd be looking at you. So it's like that. I would encourage you, I really hope you'll read the verses and the commentary, because Gyaltsen Jay has quite a few really beautiful zingers in there and comments in there for some of these verses and his elaboration. Next one, please.
The more it is that you take steps to do what you must in order to care for this, the body of yours, the more it is the body descends to nothing more than a state in which it can't bear any better. And the fall is such that even if you were able to get everything that was desirable on the surface of this planet, it would never quench the desire. Who then is it that could act to give you all you want? When they cannot, then this desire brings on mental afflictions and lessening of the thought.
So it's a very beautiful line, actually. Master Shantideva says, look, you could have every single thing on this planet and you still wouldn't be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Says, the nature of the mind, the nature of our desire is such, it doesn't matter what you get, you're not going to be satisfied. So he starts to talk about the problems of serving the body and taking care of the body. And he says, look, we collect so much negativity to serve the body and take care of the body. It's basically a hunk of meat. You know, the body in and of itself doesn't know anything. You know, the body doesn't call out, you know, I want this or I want that. It's the mind which is doing it. He's saying the body itself is indifferent to whether vultures come and eat it or, you know, or anything else. It's just organic matter. It's a piece of meat, flesh and blood and bone. It's all mind. You know, the mind is driving it. The mind is saying, I want this and I want that and I want the other. And he says basically he says the more closely we care and serve for the body, the more sensitive it becomes and the more that it wants. And the more you pander to it, the worse it gets. And I think we see that in our own life. You know, the more, I mean, I guess you could use the metaphor of like walking barefoot on gravel. If you do it a lot, your feet toughen up and it doesn't bother you at all. You know, but it's very difficult to do it if you only do it once every 3 years. You know, because your feet are very tender and sensitive. And something like that. That's maybe not a good metaphor. But Master Shantideva says that the thing that prevents us from actually putting this into practice is a mental attitude. The thing that prevents us from exchanging self and others is a mental attitude. We do so much for the body. We say the body needs to be fed, the body needs to be clothed, the body needs to be warm, the body needs this, the body needs that, it needs beautiful clothes. And it's not the body at all. It's the mind. The body doesn't need any of those things. It's the mind which is creating those things and which is calling out for those things. And the mind can never be satisfied. Even if you gave it everything on the planet, it wouldn't be satisfied. So he said that, that mental attitude prevents us from adequately exchanging self and others and putting this into real life practice. And one of the main problems is that the body is so selfish and demanding things for itself, to be protected and honored and served and all the rest. So all that adds up to self-cherishing, and it prevents us from reaching our spiritual goals. So you can't make it happen, basically. It's insatiable. And the ironic thing is the more we try to take care of the body and please the body, the worse it gets and the worse the craving becomes. Oh, I'll give it better cookies. Well, now I can't eat the bad cookies anymore because they taste like crap, Oh, but then I found an even better cookie. Now I can eat the ones that are like less good than that, because it tastes like crap. And it just goes on and on and on and on, no matter what it is. Okay. So when we're talking about we try to make the body happy, we're obviously implying ignorance, that we're going to do something wrong to make the body happy. There's going to be some kind of ignorant craving, right? And we're misperceiving the body in some self-existent way. Obviously no problem to take care of the body in some holy way as a vehicle to the mind. And obviously it implies that we would do some kind of bad deed, and those two elements have to do that. So it's one of the classic sufferings of mankind that can't be satisfied. Okay, last verse of the course, go ahead.
The excellent thing that comes to those who depend on nothing at all are absolutely endless. On the other hand, is desire for the body which grows forever, leaving you no other chance. He who has finished grasping to attraction is found to find this thing to possess it all.
Is it the last verse?
No. There's a few more.
Keep going, just go straight through.
Okay. Its final destination is always the same, the dust. On its own is this immobile, dependent upon another for its motion. This body is a thing of filth and merciless too. Why then do you hold it to be yourself? Whether it lives or dies, it doesn't matter to me. What's the use of this machinery, the body? What's the difference between it and a lump of rock? Why is it that I cannot stop my pride for it? In your worship of this body, you've piled up many sufferings. All of it is meaningless. What's the use of this thing? No better than a piece of wood. Why the love and hate? Regardless of whether I continue to care for the body or whether the vultures come to feed upon it, it has no feelings of attachment or anger. Why then is it that I have attachment? Why then is it that I have the attachment myself? And so in order to clear away the obstacles, I must collect my mind to avoid the path that errs. Always then I must place my thoughts in balanced meditation upon an object that's correct.
So, Master Shantideva makes the point that we take resources from other people and deprive other people of things to take care of our body. And that the difference between me and other people is that we have different corpses, different hunks of meat, and that's how we differentiate ourselves and other people's. And at the bottom of most of our problems is taking care of our body. Pretty much every lie we were told is to take care of our body, is to do something for our body. And that the body demands attention, and the body deceives us into thinking that I'm separate from everyone else, which is a lie. It says, I'm this body, it ends here, it's this thing, it's separate from everything else, and it's just not true. So why do I call myself me? Mainly because I have a different body, and wanting to keep this body happy is at the root of most of the negativity that I feel. So wanting the nicest girlfriend, the nicest clothes, the nicest place to live, and being willing to do whatever it takes to get those things. So Master Shantideva says, ask your body if it ever wants those things. It doesn't. The mind wants those things. So, Master Shantideva is saying that don't waste your life serving this body. The body doesn't even want it. The body's not asking you to do it. It's simply the mind. The idea that you have this boundary of this is me, and I'm working my whole life to take care of this, is a fallacy and is a misperception, and is a source of countless negativities and problems. And that we have to get free of this body and forget the boundaries that the body puts between me and other people. And it's a false boundary, and that's what Master Shantideva is doing, this mind thing, is saying your mind's in that person's body, looking over at this body. And my mind's in that person's body when we're looking at this person's body. And he's doing this thing where he's helping us to get fluid about how we see ourselves and what perspective we have of looking at self and others. Right? A little bit of a mental exercise in that regard to try to overcome those false boundaries. And the idea of who we are has to be bigger than just this body and this piece of meat. Trying to take care of ourselves is dysfunctional. You could look at somebody who spends their whole life trying to take care of themselves, and you'd say, take Donald Trump as an example. He's been how many years in divorce court, and spent however long trying to get everything he can for himself and his name on everything possible and as much fame as possible, And he's pretty unhappy from his face, and probably not very happy. He spent a lot of time in divorce court with multiple wives. So it doesn't work to be selfish. We don't get what we want. And if we want something, we'll get it as a result of taking care of other people. So, and it's just dysfunctional, to say, I'm only going to take care of myself. This is the only thing that's me. This is the only thing that counts. This is the only thing that matters. Is the source of every pain, every suffering in the world. And Master Shantideva's bottom line is that it's ignorant, it's incorrect to think that way. It's just utterly not true at a higher level. And the source of every goodness in the world, and the source of every spiritual realization, the source of every spiritual attainment flows from offering love and compassion and kindness continuously, all the time, to everyone and everything around us. And so you have to cook that. If one is doing that, one is manifesting love. One is love. If one is offering love and compassion and kindness constantly to every being in need, wouldn't be too far off to say that one is that. One is an expression of that completely. So there's an important point there that one has to think about in terms of how it's an important key as to how this practice leads one to higher realizations. The apparent world, the conventional world, is a device, an affliction, an afflicted perception, and by working with this afflicted perception, and by working with this by working with the device of the conventional world, we can come to a place where we are love and compassion and happiness entirely. But that's not possible as long as there's a notion of afflicted self and other. Can't be everything better. Right? Okay. Thank you. And we'll review next week. By the power of the goodness that we've done here, may we quickly dissolve all appearances, completely manifesting total purity and goodness to all places and times and realms, thereby ending every suffering for every being.
Please teach class 12.
Sorry?
Please teach class 12.
I'm very happy to teach course 12, but it just boils down to, I need 7 or 8 hours of childcare help every week.
How
on the
far
weekend.
is it to somebody to stay at your house?
Well, we can't lose the kids, obviously. We can't take them out and lose them.